Good morning, Goran. How are
Good
you?
morning. Fine. Thank you. And you, Ingo?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you very much for interview today in the morning, on Saturday morning. It's also very nice to meet you again. Um, so I will introduce how I met you shortly to our guest,
Okay.
and then we can start our interview. So, guys, I met Goran when I worked in old company, ex company, and we worked together for a couple of projects together. Of course, his expertise in structural engineering and structural documentation, construction documentation, and he is a BIM manager in one large organization at the moment. So I'm very happy to invite him, and I'm really appreciate for Goran's time on Saturday morning.
Uh, thank you first for invitation. Thanks for this introduction. I'm really happy so I can be today with you to speak about those important themes in our industry, in
uh,
our branch. As more as because I speaking with you, person, I learn a lot from you.
oh
So
no.
I'm really happy that we can together share some thinking about our branch on today's interview.
Thank you, Goran. Thank you very much for your time. All right, let's get started. Could you introduce yourself a little bit more detail, Goran?
Okay, my name is Goran Anić. I'm from Croatia, born in a small country in Bosnia, also to say, in Busovača. I came to Zagreb since 13, 14 years. I started to study civil engineering here on faculty, and I finished in 2013. 2012, 2013. Then on the last year, I started to work in one small company which was uh, which which field of doing was the steel constructions. And first time I start with the Tekla and with the steel workshop, which was the complete entire new world for me, because until then we dealing just with to the papers on the university, we see just examples of those constructions, but now I have really experience to get on first job as a student on the last year of my university. uh, I get the opportunity to start working with 3D software, which was for me, like someone open your eyes in the moment. After that, I didn't. I was for 1 year there, and after that, I get an opportunity to start working in one company which was mostly oriented to those civil engineering. They designing the roads,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in the part in the department which was dealing with those objects on the roads.
Mm-hmm.
We make a lot of bridges,
Oh,
those
wow.
uh, those walls by the side, those small objects on the roads. So that was the completely different experience, but also very great experience. And I learned a lot because I have opportunity and luck that many of the projects which I'm working on it, they are go to execution phase. It's not
Wow.
with those projects. It's not the same always situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually you make the project and it starts in a few years, or in 3, 5, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But now it was a situation that we finish something and it go directly to execution. And after that, I employ myself. I get as an employee in ATP Architects and Engineers
Mm-hmm.
here in Zagreb,
Mm-hmm.
the big company which is situated in 10 or 11
Mm-hmm.
cities in Europe, all
Mm-hmm.
around the Europe. By last ranking, I think it's first West European
Wow.
company in architecture field, where we are working on really big projects. We are one integral design office.
Mm-hmm.
We have all disciplines inside
Mm-hmm.
the house, and we are dealing with really big project. completely using BIM
Wow.
technologies. Now, here I started as a structural engineer for almost 3 years, three
Mm-hmm.
full years, and after that, in last 1.5 year, almost two, I'm dealing with BIM. I take fully responsibility as a BIM manager
Mm-hmm.
on complete company. So it's current position of mine. You know.
Wow. Wow. That's so you have long path. So you have around like I guess around over 12 years of
Uh,
experience.
8 years as a designer experience as a
Mm-hmm.
from junior to senior designer, so we can say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Wow. So it's really nice to hear how one person goes through from university experience to civil engineering and like including infrastructure, bridge and road. As far as building scale, now he's managing also BIM management as a BIM manager in large organizations such as ATP architects and engineers. Um, it's really good to hear all this path, how you gain your BIM experience along with your professional works. So let me now ask a funny question. Maybe it's not very important, but could be important. What is your favorite software? And why? And why?
Uh, what is my favorite software? I always like to say I really like Tekla, because I started with Tekla, and
Mhm,
I like this software because it's really user oriented. It's very intuitive. You know,
mhm,
it's easy to catch all up things, and for me, it's really funny to work in
mhm,
this software. You know,
mhm,
but now from my position in last company, we start to use the Revit,
mhm,
you know. And after I came in ATP Architects, you know that we are working in Revit, Autodesk, all Autodesk softwares, and I really like Revit also. I cannot say I dealing with Revit each day, you know.
mhm,
It has many good things.
mhm,
There are something which going on your nerves, but until you learn them, you
mhm.
know. But at the end, there's some 10 steps, I think, that you should go through with Revit, and
Yeah.
then you came as an experienced user, and then there's no more problem with Revit, you know.
Oh,
But
yeah, sure.
by the side, from my position of structural engineer, I really like those software for structural calculation,
Mhm,
like global
mhm,
RFM software.
mhm,
I use them now for structural calculation.
mhm,
In last company, we use Sophistic, so
mhm,
I also work with Sophistic.
mm,
And I really like, and I'm really happy because they are software which has a great interoperability
mhm,
between those BIM software for architects or for
mhm,
other disciplines. Then
mhm,
we can share our models in
mhm.
between, you know.
Wow. So in my opinion, Goran gone through all this structural engineering package, not only BIM documentation package such as Revit, but he also used in Tekra, and Tekra is like it's like a magical software as far as I know. Such a good performance and detailing of the object is really amazing. And I know Goran has an amazing calculation ability of structural calculation. And I know the Dluber RFEM and RSTAB, and he also used Sophistic for reinforcement detailing, and also the Revit Sophistic plugin to test some calculation between the interpolation function. And we put all down the software list on down description because maybe some of them outside of Europe maybe never heard about the software, particularly for calculation software.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good information for them. All right. Do you have any your blog, personal blog or YouTube channel that you can show your skills? Why?
This is also a tricky question, you know. We speak in last time about this team and about this question, you know.
Yeah.
Still no, because in last in last 8 years
Mhm.
while I'm start working, there's no time for this, you know.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I'm just kidding. I was really busy.
Mm-hmm.
I gave myself 100% in those is in gain experience in really civil engineer industry. And also now in last 2 years from my position, I started to gain knowledge in field of architecture, electrical and MIP installation also, because I'm working as a BIM manager primarily for this architecture structure, but as we are integral office, I was always person who is not closed for just one thing. I really like to learn another things, so I'm exploring also some parts from other disciplines like electro and MIP installation. So I really like to learn. So in these last 2 years, I really told myself I don't starting new things. And some personal blog will be these new things, because first let's gain some big picture knowledge, from all disciplines, and then we will start. So as you already know, we speak about this team, and I told you that probably until middle of this year we will start with something, with some kind, but I don't I don't want to say this
publicly.
loud. We will announce what's going on.
Sure, I think it's fair enough. You've been busy for catching up all this new thing, but you never be able, in my opinion, you never be able to catch up everything these days, because everything change really quickly. I had the same feeling. Maybe I'm not good enough to say something in public, or maybe not, my skill is not enough to show around. But it's also you learn by doing it, by showing your skills, and you learn at the same time. And I found it's not too bad idea to begin with. But anyway, let's go for next question. But we're looking forward to see some of your expertise and public somehow in the future, because
me too. I really think that I came to one level where there is place to share some knowledge, because I really work hard in this field of structural engineering. And if we take a look Revit and Sophistic, maybe for reinforcement, they are I saw many tips and tricks which are shown on some ideal ideal elements, outside of the model somewhere. But in last 3 years I work at least 15 projects which we were developed the complete execution drawings documentation in 3D, and rebar, all those stuff, all the stuff we deal with Revit, and with some help sophistic plugin for reinforcement. And it's amazing, and I think that I have something to share, so I really looking forward to share with other.
Yeah, I think we all looking forward to seeing your work in the future. I think that's it's also confidential information from project works. I know there are many experts around the world, but they are all hidden, like a hidden gem. So I'm trying to sort of provocative while I'm making this personal interview, so that I can encourage all of you to appear in our community. All right, let's move on to the next question. So I'm sure it is easy to collaborate with the other. It's not easy. I'm sure it's not easy to collaborate with the other disciplines, such as architects, as an engineer from your side, or MEP engineers, or maybe some specialist, geotechnical engineer, etc. What are the difficulties to work with the other discipline in BIM workflow?
Ooh, that's a really good question, and from my experience, I would like to say always the primary thing is communication. So I read somewhere better communicate together to coordinate better. So it's always I don't know, maybe earlier was the I think that earlier there was the big office on our markets, you know. And
Mhm.
in meantime, after all those busy lifestyle, you know,
Mhm.
they're I don't see anymore on the market many big companies, you know.
Mhm.
They are all small companies with few peoples,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they are used to work on some way proper for them, you know.
Mhm.
And situation in traditionally, what we like to say, traditionally way of the
Mhm.
work was architect made everything,
Mhm.
send some documentation, DVGs, PDF, I don't
Mhm.
know, maybe model also,
Mhm.
IFC,
Mhm.
to other, and then they do their job, send it back, and that's it, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now we get in one completely new era of collaboration, you know.
Mhm.
From my example, we sit all disciplines sitting in one office, you know,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we have to talk each day
Mhm.
one with other. There's no possibility to say, you know,
Mhm.
I will start with my work after you finish. It's
Mhm.
not possible, because
Mhm.
we are making our buildings from start together, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
you have
Mhm.
to you have to say me, I need some reservation place for my
Mhm.
installation in this
Mhm.
area. I need elements, walls, bearing structures like this, you know.
Mhm.
And this is collaboration, you know. No, so to collaborate, we should talk, you know.
Mhm.
And and if we back to this situation where all designers work in small company, where they were alone, making documentation, send it out.
Mhm.
Now it's logical that it's a big problem to talk, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
because we have to give ourselves, you know. First
Mhm.
of all, you have to really like your job, you know.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
have to you have to second is that you have to be interested in other disciplines, you know.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
today, it's not enough to say I'm expert in my field of branch, you know, in my
Mhm.
in my area.
Mhm.
I have to be interested in a little bit, just a little bit, from
Mhm.
other disciplines, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
I really need to know how it's calculated, physics of the building, you know,
Mhm.
because from that depends how thick my wall will be at the end, you know.
Mhm.
And all the stuff. So I think that first is communication, you know.
Communication is
Yeah,
difficult.
and that's the why are we maybe so in focus on this place, because we are not just BIM manager. I would like
Mhm.
to say,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
sometimes we are psychologists, you know. We're
Mhm.
trying to make communication better in team, you know.
Mhm.
That's my first focus on what I think.
Yeah.
We are here to bring this communication to our team,
Mhm.
you know, to set them to sit in the same room, or to speak through same model, and to give a feedback one
Mhm.
to each other,
Mhm.
uh, because just with this way, at the end, we will get the buildings which are
Mhm.
really amazing.
Yeah. So I understand the building project or infrastructure project. Nothing is same all the time. It's every case is different. So the communication is the most difficult part. I can imagine like how many like 50 maybe 50 different disciplines involved in big large infrastructure project or building project,
Yeah.
and the communication is nightmare for sure. And within your organization, even you have all the disciplines, but still that's the challenge for to be efficient, right? The communication
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's really challenging. It's
Mhm.
really challenging. It is a bit easier for
Mhm.
sure,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
you know, we are sitting all in one office. I already said.
Mhm.
It is a little bit easier because I can easily go to some of my colleagues from
Mhm.
other disciplines and talk to them.
Mhm.
But it is challenge, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because we're living in a world where the deadlines are every day shorter, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because the technology is developing really fast,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone expecting that we can produce something what we
Mm-hmm.
do earlier for 1 year. Now we can produce this in 8 months
Mm-hmm.
maybe, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we can, I'm sure that we can, because we have technology which allows us to do this. But we cannot do this if we don't have good communication, you know.
Mm-hmm.
First preparation, then communication, and then we can deliver the project on the time,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the
Sure. So you're talking about technology in modern time architecture in modern,
uh,
yeah, like let's say Stone Age, there was also architecture, right? So
yeah.
now in modern architecture and building industry, so what is your perspective on BIM, uh, and in our industry, current perspective or future perspective? What do you think about BIM?
Oh, uh, this thesis that the civil engineering is the we are still so far
Mm,
if you take a look IT or automobile industry or something like that, you know. That's because I think that it's not a primary problem in us, or I think that it's normal way, because the construction company, I think they cannot follow
mm-hmm,
this level of development, you know, because
mm-hmm,
we have first problem, that's the workforce, you know.
mm-hmm,
uh, it's always you cannot expect on the construction site to have the high skill people who know complete
mm,
each software and deeply knowing of technology, you know.
mm-hmm,
But I think that there is robotic
mm-hmm,
which will take a really important place in the future,
mm-hmm,
because there will be some changing processes in
mm-hmm,
in operation, you know, for
mm-hmm,
sure.
mm-hmm,
There, the construction company are those who should lead this change, you know, because uh, as soon as they prepare themselves
mm-hmm,
for those operation, I
mm-hmm.
think that we as a designer, as a
Planner, designer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, as a planner, that we can easily adapt ourselves, because
Okay.
for us it's a little bit maybe hard to take this implementation, or
Mm-hmm.
for some of them it's hard to take this implementation. But if you have a construction company, and if everything go in that direction, that
Mm,
they can do this, I think that we, with our knowledge, with our
mm-hmm,
experience, we can follow up this because now I think it's a different situation.
mm-hmm,
We implementing some techniques, some software, some methodologies, some different process in our companies,
mm-hmm,
but at the end our project finished on 2D paper, you know.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
that's the primary problem.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And second thing, I think that's the construction company development robotic and something like
mm-hmm,
that. And second thing, I see in precast and
mm-hmm,
prefabrication,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
for
mm-hmm,
sure, because uh, same as we mentioned in first reason, workforce, you know.
mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm,
always easier now when we have those softwares.
mm-hmm,
It's always easier to just send one element
mm-hmm,
directly in on production line, or in on
mm-hmm.
CNC or something like that,
Yeah,
and bring it on the construction site, put it
that's
in
right.
one place.
That's right.
It's much more easier. It's much more
Efficient or faster.
efficient. Yeah, and then we can plan exactly when we will
Mm-hmm,
produce this element, when
mm-hmm.
we'll assemble this element, when we'll put it on the construction site. So I think that
Okay.
this is the
So
really
to summarize, like the construction site is still a little bit far away from the modern technologies. Let's say not everybody, but
not everybody, but
more,
we should
many,
take a look in
yeah,
general, you
yeah,
know, in
and
complete world in general. There,
many case. And I think the field condition, let's say from the field of construction site, there should be also some point modernize the technology to bring the planning documentation to be efficient on site, right?
yeah,
Not
yeah,
only robotics, maybe some hardware like a sensors, or I don't know,
yeah,
the signal, or the new camera technology, or to analyze the field condition, and then that can be one of the key succeed in the future in our industry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think also that, yeah, the construction company in general, they should also involved in BIM process, like a lean construction or lean BIM, where everybody involved at the beginning of stage until the handout. And as I think I like your comments about fabrication. Yeah, prefabrication, like these days, like many
Yeah.
even open source prefabrication project like WikiHouse, they fabricate complete wooden parts and then let building owners to assemble by themselves like a Lego.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so I think this is already all there. It's just
So
matter of
just take a look situation here in Croatia in last year where we had two earthquake,
right.
and there was two area, one area in Zagreb and one 50 kilometers from Zagreb where was really
Mm,
many of houses are damaged, and
mm,
now if we are take look in from this perspective,
mm,
now I think here's for sure 10 or 15 companies which started just with this precast and pre
prefabrication. Yeah.
pre-assembled construction,
Mm,
so because they offer assembly on the place in between 1 and 7 days, I think, or
mhm,
something like that, which is
mhm,
amazing.
mhm,
Imagine that you had we are really seismic area,
mhm, mhm,
and imagine that you had earthquake
mm.
yesterday, and in 15 days then you
Yes.
have possibility to place another house on the same place or something like that, or
Yeah.
or even on some field when you
Mm,
can situate 100 people which are stay without their homes or something like that.
mm,
And also then if we take a big picture in the whole world,
mhm, mhm.
there's many areas
Suffer
which
from
are
the.
not
Mm,
which are not developed like we like
mhm,
here in Europe.
mhm,
So maybe we can be a little bit human,
mm,
and
mm.
share our knowledge and our strength, and develop some cheap house, or
Yes.
cheap to produce, but
Mhm.
quality, with high quality for living for someone in Africa or somewhere, I don't know. So
Sure. So this affordable housing tema and the
yeah,
natural resource and
yeah,
natural disaster, as well as the waste, ocean waste from the
yeah,
plastics and things like that, is very important tema in our built environment. For sure, we have to think about it already, not only as a scientist, but all the architect, engineer, scientists, teachers, and
yeah,
students. Everybody should think about this.
like human,
Yeah,
we
like
have to,
our
yeah,
Earth. It's
yeah.
very important tema. You're right.
We have to imagine that we are just borrow our place on earth for us
Mm,
in this life, not that it's us,
sure.
we are just here for this moment, and
Yeah,
we have to leave this to our children,
sure. I believe the science, like we could go one day to the somewhere in space. We may find another planet to live. So, but I know homeland is always best. I miss my country as always, and once we destroy our home world, then it will be
yeah,
difficult. I mean, you'll always miss this home world. So for
yeah.
sure. All right, let's move on. Next question. It's a bit tricky, maybe controversial, or maybe tricky question for BIM manager for you.
Okay,
It seems like these days everyone say I'm BIM manager. Like there are a lot
okay.
of BIM managers everywhere, and somehow I feel BIM manager, this terminology is no longer really somehow important or not. It's so usual nowadays. So do you think, or do you feel the project team in general, including project manager, project group manager, or your CEO or whoever or colleagues, do you feel they really respect BIM managers in practice?
Ooh, yeah, it's a really tricky question, but
Mm,
I think for start, it's not just connected with the position of the BIM manager.
mhm, mhm,
It's it's widely now in practice that you become the people who are think that they can do everything, you know.
Mm.
And from one perspective, I think it's normal, you know, because those younger generation and those new new guys, they
Mm.
are born with those technology, and
Mhm.
they have some other perspective in a completely different way. Those people who has experience for us, for
Mhm.
sure, have something to give us,
Mhm.
but maybe they are not so much with technology.
Mhm.
So my perspective on this question and on this point is that yes, today everyone think that they are BIM managers. I don't know. I don't have any problem with that.
Mhm.
In other case, I like that, you know,
Mhm.
because I like that. Even especially here in Croatia, where we are a small country, we are a small land, small country. You
Mhm.
know, I like that there's many people
Mhm.
who are involved in this changing process for us, you know,
Mhm.
because there will be many different answers on the same themes, and then
Mhm.
you can select what is good to you. And I
Mhm.
think that you can learn from everyone. Sometimes you can learn from everyone
Mhm.
something if you want, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't have anything against it, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
And from this position of BIM manager in team, it's really hard to say, because uh, outside, when I take a look, I see that we are in some implementing process, you know. And when
Mhm.
you are implementing process, there are always question, you know. There are only two sides. You have those people who wants this
Mhm.
beam a
Mhm.
lot, and you have those who doesn't want this, or what I will do with that, and something like that, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you are in middle, or if you are on the first place in this chain, you know, you're struggling to get all on beam, but
Mhm.
you have always think about this end side, you know, for the people who doesn't want this, you know.
Mm.
And you will always have this situation,
Conflict.
yeah, that someone will tell you
Mhm.
you know, why do I need be manager, you know. So
Mm.
it's okay, you don't need it, but he will realize, you know, from my perspective, I'm here to show them all uh, how their daily job can be
Yeah.
easy, you know.
No,
Because at
yeah,
the
go
end,
ahead.
I really like the feeling that we do something better, faster,
Yeah.
and leave some free space for important things, you know.
Yeah.
Because let's do some boring stuff as fast as we can,
Yeah.
and let's enjoy our work much more, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sure.
that also ask for us to have deeply knowledge
Yeah.
in software,
Yeah.
in technology, in industry. But I think that at the end, everyone recognize this
Mm.
potential, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Sure.
Even with small things, you know.
I like the comments that the more BIM manager, the better in our environment and our collaboration. That's for sure. And I think the conflict between some people against BIM, it's always happens, but you can manage it. I think that's the nature.
Probably just imagine may doing some big hotel or something like that with,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 30
Mm-hmm.
40,000 square meters,
Mm-hmm.
and you have create the sections by
Mm-hmm.
your own, you know.
Mm.
That's the
Yeah, this
that's
is
the,
already it's already like it's a old way of
yeah.
yeah.
But
But
that's the primer thing. Let's get back 10 years ago, you
but
know.
sometimes I like those people who against BIM asking question like, can you scale your model like jack like that? You know, like a 2D drawing, just scale.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, actually, they are right. Why we cannot do it? You should be able to do it. Can you scale two
uh,
times bigger? Like, you know, actually,
uh,
it's a logical question, but at the moment, our technology doesn't support that far, you know, to
yeah,
flexible.
yeah.
Or maybe it does support, but we just have to figure it out. All
For
right.
start, for start, it's good that we can do mirror. Maybe.
Yeah, that's also mirror and copy, yeah, at
Yeah,
least.
at
Let's
least.
let's see. Next question. Who do you think is a good BIM manager in practice? I mean, who do you think who should be the BIM manager? I mean, I saw a lot of case that BIM manager, but they don't have knowledge about BIM software, but they are still BIM manager, or and maybe on the other hand, they could be very good communicator. As you said, communication is important, or maybe they are very good project manager, but still it replace BIM manager's position, or somebody is really good at skills and programmings and also the structure of all this IT technology, but he or she doesn't have much experience on, let's say, planning stages, or somebody is good for both of them, but they not yet that level to communicate that well in terms of human language in their native tongue. So who would be the best?
In my opinions, I think that here should be always some mix, But first of all, let's back on what we speak earlier. You should love what you do, you have to be passionate about it, You have to love technology. You cannot do this, I think, without software knowledge. Maybe you don't need to be best in each segment of this software, but you have to know deeply how those softwares are working, because today, a few days ago, I was speaking with with my colleague about the all softwares in our industry. We take in front of us some list about with all those softwares, and when I saw this in one of your YouTube video, why Rhino, I think, something like that. You and Grasshoppers put a list of all those softwares, and I saw this, and I imagine myself, it's impossible to know all those software,
Sure.
But what is for us important, for us is important to know logic of those software, what's going behind, and I think that we are capable to very fast to adapt to those softwares, to find out what we need from this software and get some result, So if you are really love technology, if you are deeply into some of software, it will be much more easier for you. But at the first place, you need to love what you do, and you need to know industry. From my position as structural engineer, I work with steel construction. I working as a designer, but 10 meters from my office was production building, where I can go each day to see how they producing what I draw, what I model, So after that, I was in infrastructure. I was working in one big segment where I was constantly involved with survey engineers, with geotechnical investigation, with road infrastructure, And after that, I came into here in one interdisciplinary office. Where we are working on really large scale projects with all disciplines inside, and my wish to know from each discipline something bring me in that position. Then I can say that from my opinion as a structural engineer, probably I know less than some other managers about Revit, but I have really high knowledge in this designing process behind myself, and now I have space to learn softwares because I have really big experience in designing. From other perspective, some BIM managers who has deeply knowledge on software, they have to find way to how to gain this industry knowledge, which I think that is much harder, because if you are not strictly from our industry, it's really hard to find position where you can learn this, you know, because you cannot learn how to be structural engineer if you are if you are not in that field. You can, everything is possible today, but I think it's much harder, you know.
It's harder.
I think that I have, like, I'm in that position that now I'm just gaining my software knowledge, you know, and I'm gaining in that way that I really taking care about process which I was done in these 8 years, you know, because I know what was the hardest way for me to do. Now it's I have clearly my way what I want to do, you know.
So Goran says the certain years of experience in planning and also field condition is important. We cannot decide BIM manager who comes just from IT science. That's for sure. Unless they have like really self-taught good knowledge about construction. Yes, that may be possible. And also the BIM manager should know technology in deeply in some of the software. Not everything, but at least knows what colleagues talking about in terms of tools. That's for sure. And Goran keeps saying he's not he's learning software, but I think he's like one of the experts in software. I don't know what he's talking about, but
no. We misunderstand each other, you know. I'm gaining some other software, you know.
yes,
because
sure. Yeah.
probably I never do before in 3ds Max, maybe, you know. So I start with one software for a graphical designer, you know. I don't know why, but I'm trying each day to learn something new, really.
Yeah, I think this is really important because our industry, as you know, now I'm out of building industry, like planning industry. So I'm running every day. I'm somehow linked, but I'm not really specifically draw and model every day, putting dimensions and checking the rule. I don't do this anymore for now. But you know, like I really think that we should also see some other domains, like what others doing, graphic designers, web designers, I don't know, fashion designers even, or IT scientists, whoever, like different domain.
Cartoon,
Yeah,
or something
cartoon
like
or anything.
game, yeah, everything.
Like when you just experience a little bit difference from out of our industry, that helps a lot to think why we should move on to new. Yeah, that I think it's a really good help to wake up from our industry. All right, I have. Do you still have time? If you don't mind,
Yes.
I'll continue some question, maybe 2 more questions.
Okay.
So um, so my next question is, I think you could be really good teacher at university for students to teach BIM, or like, you know, what do you think university should teach some BIM course in our industry?
Yes, this for sure, you know. When I was at university, there was no some particular course where I could attend, you know. It was usually take YouTube or something like that, you know, to learn something. But now I think that complete university should think about a little bit change organization to implement all those new technology.
Yes, because that's really important. Yeah.
I can remember that when I was at university, I always ask my teachers, why don't we use those new softwares, you know? And they have good answer. Exactly. They told me because we are university, you know, we are not someone who teaching software, and that's correct. That's something what we should remember. University much more than software, you know. It should give us education in that way that we are capable to solve all those stuff which were met in the life, you know. Because that why we are doing and what's the reason why we are acting in this way.
Mm-hmm.
We want to learn everything from
Mm-hmm.
something from each discipline. It's because university give us some way of thinking for
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I really like by universities.
Sure.
But at the end, I'm sure that now is technology so go on that
Mm-hmm.
that it's really important to bring the major quality from these
Mm-hmm.
sectors in
Mm-hmm.
at the university.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't primarily need to be specific software,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but we can discuss, we can explain to the students concepts,
Mm-hmm.
what is information, what is the operation,
Mm-hmm.
because we are just thinking about how to build building, but
Mm-hmm.
building is built to use and to operate with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's many things which we are learn our students in our real life,
Mm-hmm.
without just specific learn some software or modeling or something like that.
Yeah.
But for sure it should be some courses which are
Mm-hmm.
bring our students some
Yeah.
new knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I see nowadays there are a lot of specialized in university in these topics of BIM or construction,
Yeah.
but it's still not available for every students who in our industry. I remember when I was master students in 2013, I couldn't find good information about this, and I have to fly to London building research establishment in Watford. I have to pay my own money, like more than £1,000 or
Yeah.
£1,500. I don't remember as a student to catch up. What's the BIM? What is BIM? Or after graduate, you may see some BIM course in different consulting companies or Building Smart International. The the education is like €5,000 easily for a couple of days of workshop,
Yeah.
and it's too expensive. I think universities should certainly implement some new topics of this BIM in construction, not only for construction department, but also for design and planning as far as maybe facility
Yeah.
management or
Yeah.
operation department. It's
Because
very important, I think.
if we take look, almost each research comes from universities,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the pot for development,
Yeah, yeah.
and from that point of view, there's no discussion,
Mm,
university should for certain bring some
yeah,
stuff on
yeah,
the university as soon as possible.
yeah. All right. So I think this question about how you can bridge the gap between senior and junior who has different knowledge in terms of technology, in terms of experience on plannings. I think you already answered many questions. So I think, of course, communication and respect each
Yeah,
other and
and we don't need to each time to learn those experienced to know technology and the software, and we just have to put them together,
put them
in my
together.
opinion. Take one experienced architect and one young architect who is really involved and who really like to modeling and everything, bring them together.
Mm-hmm.
So this connection of experienced and wellness, young wellness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you will reach result as fast as you can,
Yeah,
for
I
a
mean,
second.
this story will be always come and up and down. Like when we
Yeah.
when we get old later, maybe after 20 years, there will be completely new thing we cannot catch up, like programming. I don't know, new language.
Even faster. I think it's going just faster.
Yeah.
When we speak now, maybe 25 years and 50
Exactly.
years,
So
it will be 35, 20.
we'll be that position as well in
Yes,
senior
for sure.
position, where then we don't have any idea what's going on, but we should be
But we
always
don't.
curious. Yeah, we always
Yeah, we
should be
should be
curious.
curious, and we don't need to catch up everything what's going on, because now we have some experience,
Mm-hmm.
and what depends, someone who knows what is the result,
Mm-hmm.
he can easily came
Mm-hmm.
to result, he
Mm-hmm.
found some way, but someone who doesn't know what is the final result,
Mm-hmm.
he can work for 100 days, but there's no result, if you don't know what you're expecting.
Exactly. The important thing from as a senior point of view, I think they should focus on management level. When they're in management level, they should focus on like
Transferring knowledge.
transferring knowledge and as well as hearing what's new and
Yeah,
what can
yeah,
it be
yeah.
better. That I think that already encourage a lot for the young people and also mentoring about like all these paths. And at the same time, we would gain as well. I mean, let's imagine when you get old 10 years later, when you're over middle of 40 something,
Yeah, yeah.
when we looking back our past, it's important to listen and also learn from each other. It's not just like I'm already over, I know everything. It's not like that anymore. It's never gonna be like that, I think.
So probably, you have to wake up each morning and and ask yourself what I want to learn today, because I
Yeah,
think the
exactly.
situation is like that,
Yeah, that's
you
the
have to
best.
listen
Yeah,
and learn. I don't think that there's any other option
yeah,
to be really
yeah.
deeply in our branch.
My last question, Goran. Now, today our interview went out a little bit longer than usual, but I think
Okay.
people who interested in will still listen to. So the last one, my question is that, yeah, I'm learning every day something new as well, like everyday new things, including human language and whatever. And I'm very interested in programming and game development these days, just as a hobby. What do you want to learn for the next couple of months or years when you have chance to learn something? Do you have something particular?
So I have some short-term wishes and some long-term wishes.
Mm-hmm,
First short-term wish is from my perspective as a structural engineer. I already dealing with Dynamo, and my next step is, I think, to learn some things with Grasshopper, and
mm-hmm,
I think it will be Karamba. I would
mm-hmm,
like really to go
mm-hmm,
deeply a little bit in structure optimization
mm-hmm,
and some kind of those stuff,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that's what's in next 1 or 2 years my wish
Okay.
to improve this knowledge,
Mm-hmm,
and some long term is developing myself in some programming language, for
mm-hmm,
sure, because I think this is here. It's not past, it's not future, it's here,
mm-hmm,
and it's really really great time to start,
mm-hmm,
I have some experience from practice. I have some
mm-hmm,
BIM experience, so I think I'm really ready to start this chapter also in my life. So I think because the, this is necessary
mm-hmm.
for in our field of work. I think it's necessary for the future.
So, Goran, according to you, Goran, that the next step, short term, is visual programming and some
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of like, yes, those software he mentioned. I'll put the description down in the box. But
Mm.
yeah, it's very useful when you can manage the visual programming such as Dynamo, BIM, or Grasshopper 3D, or Karamba 3D for structural engineering. And those tools you mentioned, Deliver and Sophistic, these days they all offer visual programming package
Yeah.
from both Dynamo and Grasshopper world. So I think it's really a good point. And long-term text editing programming like JavaScript or C Sharp, I don't know, F Sharp, Python,
Python or
whatever.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
these are, of course, it's very good plan. I think that's the you already preparing next 10 years when young guy come. I have this class, blah blah. I have this method, blah blah,
Yeah.
and you want to be curious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the next 10 years, I don't know what comes, but programming must be very important in any domain, not only for building industry, but also for anyone who uh, even even I don't know, maybe the 2 3 years of uh, kids, they for them it's already gonna be important. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had an interview with a young student, like high school student, and I was asking once, "What do you speak?" Because he has background of mom from somewhere part of, and then grew up in German-speaking country, so many languages he can speak. And he was already saying, I can speak this, I can speak that, I can speak English, Spanish, Russian, German, native, everything. And on top of that, I speak C# and I know Python. So I was, oh yeah, right. This they're already counting computer
Yeah,
language as a
yeah,
language.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's the present,
yeah,
that's the present, that's for sure. And we have to adapt it, if we
yeah,
want to it work and be good in our job.
yeah,
And from my perspective, if you want to really to be good in your job, you have to gain knowledge whole your life. So
yeah.
that's what we should do.
Never-ending story.
Yeah,
All right.
never ending story.
Thank you very much, Goran, for your time today. And I think that this encourage, because this podcast I'm trying is inviting many people from different discipline who I know, not only in building industry, but also maybe some human science or computer technology people to bring it to encourage our community to see what's difference nowadays, and also probably this good for people who looking for next BIM manager or new BIM manager if they
Yeah.
implement BIM in their industry. I mean, in their organization, maybe it's good tips for them. So thank you very much for your time today, and
Thank,
it's
thank
really,
you.
it's
Thank you.
really,
I really appreciate this time what we spent together
uh,
and those information we shared. You know that I really appreciate this initiative initiation for you
yeah,
to make this podcast and to share your passion for BIM and for industry and for all new technology. I
yeah,
think because you are a really really inspiring person who is really willingness to share his knowledge. And that's why I appreciate you, and I really appreciate our meeting and interview today. And I really hope that some young guys wherever they are, they
mm,
will find some inspiration, they will also find some interesting information that we share, and they will start to
yeah,
gain their knowledge and experience in our industry. So
mm.
thank you once again.
You're welcome. For me, it's like these days, yeah, with the corona pandemic, it's little bit of time I have, so I would like to use this time for this memory of,
Yeah,
good memory of friendship and things. So I think it will be very helpful for people. All right.
maybe you should start your next meeting with nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I wish once this everything over, I would like to visit for sure Croatia. We could go nice a jungle or beach side in Croatia.
yeah, we're going the coast trip and
Yeah,
continental part.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so that's for sure. When they let us, we will meet each other here in
Yeah,
Croatia somewhere and see the whole beautiful
that'll be
places.
that'll be very nice. All right,
I
Koran.
really, I'm really looking forward.
Yeah, me too. Have a nice Saturday afternoon, and thank you very much for your time again. All right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.